I'm here at the Ancient City Shooting Range in St. Augustine, Florida with the owner, Chuck Usina. Now, I get to be on about 30 or 40 different ranges a year, and every once in a while it's worth talking to the owners and even bringing them on the Personal Defense Network because the ranges are so outstanding, and Ancient City certainly fits that bill.
Well, we try. We try to build a facility you can train on.
Absolutely, and not just train, but also practice. You've got a huge membership base, and every time I come back here, even when we're in the back on some of these ranges that aren't used as much, up front, things are always busy. How do you recommend people that don't have access to your range, that aren't here in the northern Florida area, how do they go about finding a place where they can practice? This is a common complaint from students of mine, or even people who watch PDN, is, all right, I understand that drill, I understand that concept, but I can't practice that at my range.
Well, you have to find a range that will allow you to do things further in your shooting career. So once you get from your accuracy standpoint, where you're hitting your paper, fist size group, you want to be able to move, back it up, do a bit of draw from holsters. You need to find a range that would allow you to do that. And the only way to do it is you got to get with your shooting community out there, go to some of the ranges that maybe hold classes or competitions. Those are usually generally the ones that are more free to training. And once you find one, abide by their rules. They have certain rules that you need to abide by, and they may seem silly, but they're there for safety reasons. And if you do that, you'll be able to train and practice on them.
Now, what if you go out to a range and maybe you're a member of a range and you want to go about convincing the owner or the person, the manager, you want to go about convincing them to change those rules, to be able to allow, let's say, presentation from the holster. A lot of ranges are going to say no presenting from the holster for safety, right? For the lowest common denominator. Right. How would you go about convincing them that maybe some students or all students or even just one individual should be allowed to practice their skills?
Well, for me, if somebody wanted to do it here and if I didn't do it, I would listen to somebody if they would come up to me and say, look, people need to do this today. People are into shooting guns now for protection just as much as enjoyment anymore. It's greater than it ever has been. You need to tell them, you need to have a qualification process, maybe one of his ROs that can go out there and you get signed off. Dedicate one bay to it and talk to him. And don't try to tell him what it would be good for. Try to sit down and talk with him and explain to him that a lot of people want to do this. It could probably further his membership of his range or increase his revenue. Tell him he could charge a fee to do it. People will pay to do it. But have a qualification process so that somebody can come in and do that if they're qualified. There's other local ranges around that are long range that do the same thing. Not everybody can shoot 800 yards. They make you qualify first. So it's the same principle, but you could do it with drawing from holsters.
So not just a blanket membership then is what you would suggest, and maybe this advice is even good if you happen to be a manager at a range or you own a range and you've said, well, we need to keep everybody on the same playing field. What you're saying is there may be a graduated type of membership where you can get to the point where you can do some of the more realistic dynamic practice?
Yes. Everybody who joins here knows that I have different rules for different people. If they have a skill level, they can use certain ranges. If they've never transitioned, I want to watch them or have my RO see them do it before I let them do it. We don't want an accident, but we don't want to inhibit people's training either, because training is very important, and they can't just come out and shoot a competition as training. It's not real training. It's good practice and it's good for marksmanship, but it's not for true training.
Great. Well, I think that's some great advice. If you're having trouble finding a range, maybe one of the things you could also do is take a look at the Ancient City Shooting Range's website, learn some things about what they're doing here, maybe link to that website and let the people that are running your local range know that there are plenty of professionals out there who are safely letting people practice their defensive skills as realistically as possible on ranges all over the world and especially here in St. Augustine. Chuck, I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.